Hi, I am Ziad Ali for Object-Oriented Programming. In this tutorial, we'll see how to format output in Java in two different ways. The first way is using the printf. Printf is very similar to print and println. However, F here stands for formatted. So how to use the printf? You need two things, a placeholder and a format specifier. A placeholder, you specify the location of the data item you are outputting, and the format specifier, the type of the format you want to output. For example, here, the string name will be placed here in this location after the colon, and the format specifier is _s, which stands for string. We'll see more details later. You can output more than one argument in the same printf statement. You have so many format specifiers in Java. Let's look at the most commonly used ones. %f for floating points, %d for integers, %n to get a new line, %s for string. If you use a capital or uppercase S, you get all the text in uppercase. %p for Boolean, B uppercase is also for Boolean. You get true and false either in uppercase or small case letters. %t for date and time, and %c for characters, and so on. Let's see some examples. Here I have a string named John Smith Jr., and another integer here, hours, and a salary, which is a floating point value. I'm outputting all of them one at a time using a printf function. So employee name %s. The argument here is name, which is a string. %s is the specifier and format specifier and the placeholder for the name. %d for hours and salary is %f. The output is going to be very similar to this. Employee name, then the name of the employee stored in the string, then 10 here, which is the value of the hours integer, and here is the value stored inside the salary. If you notice the salary here, %s, I get a new line, %f to format a floating point value. So you can place the data item anywhere in your string. It gives you a lot of flexibility. Let's see another example here. I have two integers, 1 and 2. Let us see the example. 10d or %10d, it will reserve 10 places or width of 10 characters for each of the arguments. So in the output, although the numbers are very small, however, 10 places will be reserved for them. If you put 0 before the number of places, then if the number of digits is less than the reserved number of places, it will be filled with leading zeros. If you put minus, then the numbers or the values will be displayed in a left justified format. The default is right justified. You can put parentheses, brackets, curly braces, anything. The most important thing is the placeholder and the format specifier. Let's see the output. As you see here, 10 places reserved for each of them. In the second one, they are filled with leading zeros. In the third one, because we used minus, then they are left justified. In the fourth one, they are right justified, but in between brackets and parentheses, as you see here. One more example. Here we have all of them in one output statement. A new line first, then employee name, %s. See the S here is an uppercase S. So the output or the name will be displayed in an uppercase format. Then you work %6d, so 6 digits reserved for the hours, formatted as an integer. Then I get a new line. Your salary is %10(3f). %10(3f) means reserve 10 places for the salary. 3 of them will be for decimals. Let's look at the output. So the name, as you see here, is all caps. Then you have a comma. You work 10 hours. As you see, 6 places reserved for the hours value, then your salary is 10 places reserved for the salary, 3 of them for decimal places. One more example in using scientific notation. Here we have distance, which is a huge value in a floating point value. If you want the output to be formatted in scientific notation, just use %e. If you use a small e or capital E, it's the same. However, the e will be either shown in uppercase or small case letters. Percent is the number of decimals. The second one is Boolean, done true. If you use capital B, true or false will be displayed in uppercase and small otherwise. Let's see the output here. Here we see only 3 places reserved for decimals. E is displayed in uppercase also. And for the Boolean, we see it true is displayed in all uppercase letters. The second way to use output format in Java is to use the string format function. The only difference between this and that is the string format function returns a string. So it's exactly like printf, however, it returns the formatting string. Then you can use the formatted string anywhere in your code. Look at this example. Same thing, we have name, hours, and salary. The new thing here is I'm using string format. The format specifiers and the placeholders are all the same like the ones you saw in printf. However, the formatted string now can be stored in a string object. So you get all of them, but in a one string object. Then you can use print or println to show the formatted string. So here I'm outputting the formatted string using print or println. I get the output I got in the previous example using printf. However, here you can store it. In many cases, you need to store the formatted output in a string. One of them, and maybe best use of string.format, is when you use message dialogues. You cannot use printf inside message dialog, so you format your output, store the output in a string like you see here, and then just use the J option pane, show message dialog, and provide the formatted string to it. So what you're going to see here is the string as it was formatted in the string format function. In this tutorial, I gave you 2 different ways on formatting output in Java. One is using the printf, the other is using the string.format. The 2 things you need to pay attention to are the placeholder and the format specifier.